Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the recipe on how to make the gluten-free bread for the bread maker. So first we're going to work on the dry ingredients that we're making in the bowl. And the second part will be the wet ingredients that we put directly into the bread pan that goes into the bread maker. So for the dry ingredients, we first have brown rice flour, and we do 2 cups. So it's the green handle. 2 of these go into the bowl. And then the other flours we do each 1/2 cup. So 1/2 cup of the chickpea flour, 1/2 cup of the tapioca flour, and 1/2 cup of the potato starch with the pink handle. Then we're going to add salt. And we do 1.5 teaspoons, I believe. I'm going to double check. 1.5 teaspoons of the sea salt. So here it is, the sea salt. So this is the teaspoon, the light blue. That's 1, and then the half is the purple. 1.5 of the sea salt. And then we're going to do 4.5 teaspoons of the xanthan gum. So that's 4 of these blue, 4 teaspoons, and 1/2, 1 purple. 4 light blue and 1 purple. Then we're going to add sugar. We're going to come over here, sugar. 3 tablespoons, so it's the light green of the sugar, and also 3 tablespoons, the light green of the creamer. The last ingredient, and you're not going to put this into the bowl, this is the very last step of the whole recipe. You're going to put 2 1/4 teaspoons of the dry active yeast. So 2 of the light blue and 1 of the orange. And if you remember, we put that kind of in the middle of the dough. We make a little hole and we put it in. Well, I'll show you that. Okay, so let's get started with actually doing the recipe. So if you remember, we start off with 2 full cups of the brown rice flour. And I like to pour it in the bowl in case anything spills. We need to get a little bit more flour. There's not enough in that bag. Okay. Here we go. Make sure it's even on top. Pour it in. All right, that's good. We'll do this one a little bit. Okay, next we're going to add 1/2 cup of each of these 3 flours: the chickpea, tapioca flour, and corn and potato starch. So again, just pour it into the cup, the measuring cup. Okay, so that was 1/2 cup of the chickpea. And I'm going to do 1/2 cup of the tapioca. All right, it's a little high, but that looks good. And then the potato starch. I'm going to do this over the sink. This one is pretty fine. Makes lots of... Whee! All right, that's a little much, but that's okay. All right, next is the salt. Remember, we're doing 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So the teaspoon is the light blue, and the 1/2 teaspoon is the purple. So we're doing 1 of each. We're putting everything in the same bowl. There's 1 and 1/2. Okay, there we go. Okay, next is the xanthan gum. And for the xanthan gum, we're doing 4.5 teaspoons. So we're doing 4 of the light blue and 1 of the purple. And this is the xanthan gum. And this one is also very fine. 1, 2, 3, 4 of the light blue, and 1 of the purple. This is the 1/2 teaspoon. All right, there we go. Next, we add sugar and creamer, 3 tablespoons of each. So the tablespoon measurement is the light green. It's much bigger than the teaspoon. So we do 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we're gonna do 3 tablespoons of the creamer. Make sure you shake it up pretty vigorously before you put it in. 1, 2, 3. Okay, very good. Next thing we do is mix this up. Mix, mix. Doesn't have to be mixed for that much, that long. Looking pretty good. Okay. Sometimes the flour flies. All right, now we're going to do the next recipe, which is the next step, step 2, which is all the wet ingredients. So you're gonna put 1.5 cups of water. You can see here 1.5 in the microwave because it needs to be hot. I'm going to put it on for 1 minute and 20 seconds. Let's see if that's good. In the meantime, I'm going to get 3 eggs. Let me grab a bowl. Okay, 3 eggs. 1, 2, and 3 eggs. Gonna whisk. Oh, I got a little piece of shell in here. Get that out. Taking forever, I apologize. There we go. Shell is out. Alright, we're gonna just whisk these a little bit. Alright, that looks good. Real quick. Okay. Let's see how the water came out. Oh, it's hot. Okay, so we're going to add the water. Remember, 1.5 cups of water directly into the bread maker pan. We're going to put 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. So remember, the light blue is the teaspoon. Just rinse it off because it had some flour on it. And here's the apple cider vinegar. Okay, put that right in. We're going to do 1/4 cup of olive oil. So here's the olive oil, 1/4 cup. Pour that right in. Okay. The last thing we're going to add in is the eggs. Okay, we can mix that up a little bit with a fork. And you should have this little mixer tool thing in the bottom, if you see that. Okay. Now we're going to add all the dry ingredients. That's last. And the yeast, like I said, will be at the very end. So first we're going to add all these dry ingredients. It could be a little tricky to not get this on the floor. So slowly I'm adding all these. You want to try and make it even. And almost all in. You can move it around once it gets in there. Ooh. All right, we have a little bit left. Some of it will stick to the bowl like this, and that's fine. Just try and get it out, and then you can leave some. Okay, we're good with that. Now the last thing we're going to do is make a little hole in the middle, and that's where the active yeast goes. That's this stuff. All right. And we have to put 2.5 teaspoons. So we need that blue one again. Use the teaspoons a lot in this recipe. The light blue. Let me dry it off. Two and 1/4 teaspoons we put in. So 1, right there in the hole. 2, and then the 1/4 teaspoon is orange. Okay, there we go. Now we're done with our whole bread mix. Next thing we need to do is get it into the bread maker. Let me show you how to do that. Just moving things so we have some space over here. All right, here we go. So, I'd like to pull it out. We're going to open it up. And if you remember, the way to put it in is on an angle. So you're not putting it in straight like this. You're going to put it in on an angle. Let's see if I can get it. Oh, on an angle. The angle's this way. So not straight, but angled this way. Okay. You got to kind of play with it a little bit. There we go. Then you turn it so it's perpendicular and parallel now, so it's straight in there. That locks it. Close it up. And we put, now, and make sure it's plugged in. We push first cycle. And we're going to push, I push cycle until I get to 3, which is the first number here. 3 is gluten-free. Crust, I'm going to push until the arrow goes to dark. There's a light, medium, dark. I want the arrow pointing to dark. And then the loaf size, I want the arrow pointing to the 1.5 pound. The two options are 1.5 and 2. So I want it pointing to the 1.5. That's everything. Then I push start and we're done. All right, thank you.